Situated between Northport and Washington Island, Wisconsin, Plum and Pilot Islands are a part of the Green Bay National Wildlife Refuge, managed by the United States Fish and Wildlife Service. The Friends of Plum and Pilot Islands, or FOPPI, came together in 2007 to partner with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to help support the preservation, restoration, maintenance, and contemporary use of the historic resources on Plum and Pilot Islands, and to conserve and protect wildlife resources, while providing opportunities for quality wildlife-dependent recreation. Both islands once bustled with human activity when lighthouses were manned by hardy keepers. Plum also was home to the U.S. Life-Saving Service and Coast Guard. But as lighthouses were automated and the Coast Guard relocated to Washington Island, buildings began to decay and Mother Nature took over the habitat. Enter FOPPI and the Fish and Wildlife Service.
Plum Island. It's one of the last wild islands in the Grand Traverse Archipelago. No one has ever lived on the island. There are people that have stayed there through the Coast Guard, but no one has ever lived there. So the wildness is all part of it. You get a chance to sit back and listen to the trees and the movement of the leaves and seeing the brilliant sunsets and sunrises. And it gives people a chance to really escape and be part of nature and recharge to go back to their daily lives.
Volunteering on Plum can feel like donating time to a paradise few know of. Members and volunteers with the Friends of Plum and Pilot Islands have many rare opportunities not afforded to the public. A day at work on the islands barely feels like work sometimes, even when pulling weeds. Our work season runs longer than the time the island is open to the public, typically from the beginning of May to the end of October, giving us even more time to enjoy the island. A few times a month, we meet on Washington Island to go to Plum and work for the day. This is the best opportunity to not only help out FOPPI, fish and wildlife in the island, but the best opportunity to experience what Plum Island has to offer. Your first step in getting to the island is a 30-minute ferry ride from Northport to Washington Island. The ferry gives you a chance to see Pilot Island from a distance, while sailing around Plum Island, giving an up-close preview of the beauty you'll encounter during your day. Once the ferry docks, everyone meets nearby, where the U.S. Fish and Wildlife boat FOPPI and our fearless leader Dusty are waiting. Our gear for the day gets loaded, everyone puts on a life jacket, and we're off on our adventure. Once everyone is on the island, we all meet on the dock or in the boathouse, and Dusty goes over what our goals for the day are. Everyone then breaks off into their work group. Some may work on the dock or inside the life-saving station. Others might work removing invasive plants or grooming trails. One workday in 2018 was spent installing a purple martin colony on the island. Another was spent catching and tagging monarch butterflies to track their migration. No 2 workdays are the same. No workday is boring. And no matter what a volunteer's skill set, we can find a place for them to fit. While we welcome all volunteers, there's a special program just for the ladies.
I was noticing in the beginning years that I was the only woman that was joining these crews. And I was wondering, well, why was that? And how could I reach out to other women to give them that type of experience that I was having, the growth and the bonding with the other volunteers and the learning about the history and the learning about preservation techniques. So I then founded this group called Women in Preservation. And the idea of Women in Preservation is that we bring women to the island and teach them preservation skills. And our motto is, no one leaves the island without dirt under their fingernails and knowledge within their soul. We built Aldo Leopold benches. We built the visitors kiosk, boot brushes for invasive seed removal when you come onto the island, and some toolboxes and Green Bay National Wildlife signage. It's been a wonderful experience. We work with people who have more experience than us and help us to use these tools. And these women come away feeling more empowered and knowing that they have a part in that project.
We pride ourselves on not only being able to accomplish the things we accomplish, but being able to teach new skills along the way. Every trip to the island is a learning experience for everyone.
Learning has got so many different styles to it. We can learn from TV, we can learn from the radio. Learning from nature is what sticks.
After lunch, some keep working, while others branch off to explore the island. Some elect to walk some of the over 7 miles of trails. Some head to the western side of the island to explore the inland lake and the marshland around it. Some swim or snorkel off the wreck of the schooner Grapeshot, just offshore. At some point, however, most find their way to the rear range light to climb the 71 stairs to the watch deck. The view that awaits you at the top is one of amazing beauty, with shimmering blue water stretching off to infinity in 2 directions. No matter what you decide to do, make sure to spend some time to decompress, to reset yourself and get back in touch with nature. Enjoy the quiet. Not the sterile quiet that we may be accustomed to in our daily lives, but the silence of nature. The songs of the birds and the whispers of the trees. Plum Island is by far the best place around to experience the purity of nature without the commotion of tourism.
I've been coming up here now for 11 years, so in the Milwaukee area, and as soon as I see that Welcome to Door County sign, then all of my stress passes. I spend time on the island, and I'm ready to just hit the ground on Monday and take everything that life is throwing back at me. And in the meantime, I've been able to do some things that I would not do at home. I think that because we've become so urbanized, we miss out on a lot of that, and Plum Island gives us a chance to go back to where wildness is and interact with that and help us to regain some of that sense of creativity and life experiences.
After ample time to explore, the buildings are locked, equipment and tools put away, and everyone boards the FOPPI for the ride back to civilization. Many noticing that our personal relationship with the island is often reciprocated. We take care of the island, and the island takes care of us. Some of our members had served on the island as Coast Guardsmen at the life-saving station, falling in love with the island back in the 1970s and 80s. Others had never heard about Plum Island until they set foot on it for the first time. What bonds all of us is the love for the islands and the love for the magic the islands produce.
Seeing these people season after season is like when you go back to camp, and watching them grow and watching their experience and how they've figured out how to do things that they couldn't do before.
The Friends of Plum and Pilot Islands would like to invite you to join us. We've made enormous strides in our goals on both Plum and Pilot Islands, but we still have a very long way to go. Join us as we continue to breathe new life into the historic structures on the islands and take further strides towards making Plum Island a learning center for history and nature. Visit www.plumandpilot.org to learn more about our islands, the Green Bay National Wildlife Refuge, and become a member instantly and securely online. Once you're a member, check out our calendar for events and work days so that you too can share in the magic of our islands. We're also always looking for outstanding businesses to partner with that are willing to help us achieve our goals. More information on sponsorships can also be found on our website. Don't miss the boat this summer. Join us today